Or gentlemen, let's be real for a moment. Relationships are built on trust, but trust doesn't mean turning a blind eye. It means paying attention. And sometimes, or whether we like it or not, our instincts start whispering when something feels off. Today, I want to share with you 8 signs that can give away a woman who just slept with someone else. Now, this isn't about paranoia or control. This is about awareness, or about being a man who can read the room, read her energy, and read between the lines when you are in a relationship. Or one of the most important things you start to notice is the flow of energy between you and your partner. Energy is subtle, but it never lies. People can speak with words, or they can act with intention, but their energy tells the real story. And once you've tuned yourself to notice it, you will see it before anything else. Or when a woman has just shared herself intimately with someone else, one of the first signs is a sudden shift in her energy towards you. Or this doesn't always look like the obvious signs of guilt that movies and TV like to portray. It can be far more subtle, but as a man you can feel when her warmth or her attention and her affection begin to cool without explanation. The conversations that once felt natural and flowing might suddenly feel forced, or the little smiles she used to give you for no reason might vanish. Where once her touch carried comfort, it may now feel distant or distracted. And even though nothing concrete has changed on the surface, you notice something feels off. This shift often comes because intimacy isn't just physical. For most women, intimacy connects both the body and the emotions. It transfers a certain level of focus, investment, and attachment. So when she has been with someone else, her emotional energy doesn't remain the same. Part of it has shifted, even if she doesn't want it to. She may try to act normal around you, but the chemistry you once felt gets replaced by a kind of emptiness, and it's hard to ignore once you're aware of it. Or it's not necessarily that she becomes openly cold or hostile, although that can happen, but more that the subtle enthusiasm she once had for you starts to dim. Or where she used to look at you with a spark in her eyes, that spark dulls. Where she once greeted you with excitement, her greetings become flat, or as though something inside her is being held back. Sometimes the energy shift works in the opposite direction. Instead of becoming colder, she might act unusually sweet or overly attentive, almost as if she's trying to cover something up. She might suddenly start showering you with compliments, or checking in on you more often, or displaying affection in ways that feel unnatural compared to her usual patterns. This can be a form of overcompensation, or where she tries to balance out her own guilt by going to the other extreme. And while on the surface it might seem positive that she's giving you more attention, or deep down when it doesn't feel authentic. The tone of her voice, the way she laughs, or the sudden intensity in her actions don't match the history of your relationship. It's important to realize that these shifts aren't always proof of infidelity by themselves. People can become distant or overly sweet for many reasons, like stress or distractions or personal struggles. But the difference here lies in the timing and consistency. Or a woman who has been with someone else shows a particular kind of distance or overcompensation that is hard to replicate in other situations. Or it's like the energy between you changes overnight with no clear explanation. And no matter how much she tries to act as though everything is fine, your instincts pick up on the mismatch. For men, the challenge often lies in trusting that instinct. Society tells you to brush it off to avoid seeming insecure or controlling. But the reality is, if you've built a connection with someone, you know her rhythms, her expressions, her tone of voice, and her emotional patterns better than anyone else. When that changes suddenly, it's not your imagination. It's not you being paranoid. It's your subconscious picking up on signals your conscious mind can't yet explain. That energy shift is one of the first and most powerful indicators that something deeper has happened. And once you notice it, it becomes impossible to ignore. When a woman has done something she feels she needs to hide, One of the most telling signs is that she may suddenly start to overcompensate. Or overcompensation is when her behavior shifts dramatically in the opposite direction of what she is truly feeling or doing, or almost like she is trying to cover a crack in the wall by painting over it with bright colors. On the surface, it may come across as extra affection, unusual sweetness, or even exaggerated attention that feels a little out of place compared to her usual rhythm. Or this is not the natural flow of genuine connection, but rather a performance designed to calm your suspicions or her own guilt. Or she may not even be aware she is doing it consciously, but her actions reveal more than she intends. Or a woman who is overcompensating may suddenly start sending you constant messages, even when she never used to. She may call you more often than usual, or shower you with compliments, or express a level of interest in your day-to-day life that feels almost forced. Or if she wasn't in the habit of asking about the small details of your schedule, and now she suddenly insists on knowing everything, that shift can feel unnatural at first. Or you might enjoy the attention. You might think she's finally valuing you more or stepping up in the relationship. But when you compare it to her usual behavior, or you can sense that the timing doesn't quite add up, this sudden overflow of affection may be her way of balancing an internal sense of wrongdoing. Or overcompensation also shows itself physically. Maybe she becomes overly affectionate when she sees you, hugging you tighter than usual, kissing you more often, or going out of her way to create intimacy. While this might feel good in the moment, or it's important to step back and ask whether it matches the consistency of her natural behavior over time. A sudden spike in affection, or especially if it comes right after a period where she was distant or unavailable, can be her subconscious way of distracting both herself and you from the truth. Or it's like she's trying to erase what happened by smothering you with gestures of love and attention. But when you look closely, all those gestures lack the depth and spontaneity of authenticity. Another layer of overcompensation comes in the form of unnecessary gifts, favors, or apologies. Or she might buy you something unexpectedly, cook your favorite meal without any occasion, or go out of her way to please you in areas she didn't focus on before. Or, while acts of love are part of any relationship, a sudden burst of them that doesn't align with her past habits should make you pause. True affection is consistent and steady, or guilt-driven affection often comes in sharp, sudden waves that feel more like distraction than devotion. Or it's also worth noting that some women use overcompensation as a way to test whether you suspect anything by acting overly loving or affectionate, or she might be gauging your reactions. If you accept it without question, she feels safe that her secret is hidden. If you look at her actions too closely or question them, or she may pull back defensively, which only exposes the imbalance even more. Overcompensation then is not just about soothing her guilt, but also about managing your perception, or making sure you stay comfortable while she hides what she doesn't want you to see. The hardest part about recognizing overcompensation is that, at first, it feels flattering. Or, who doesn't want more attention, more love, and more thoughtfulness from their partner? Or it can be tempting to brush off any suspicions because the behavior looks positive on the surface, but real love is consistent. Or it doesn't swing drastically up or down without a reason. When the affection feels like a sudden performance rather than a natural continuation of who she is, or that's when you know there's a hidden motivation behind it. Guilt often drives people to behave in ways that try too hard to patch the cracks. And those patches are exactly where the truth reveals itself. Routine is one of the clearest indicators of what is happening in someone's life, or because people are creatures of habit. Over time, you begin to recognize your partner's patterns, the way she wakes up at a certain time, the rhythm of her work schedule, or the hours she spends on her phone when she likes to go out, and even her little rituals that fill the gaps of her day. These patterns become familiar, and they give you a sense of stability in the relationship. But when someone's actions start to deviate from these established routines without a clear explanation, or it becomes a signal worth paying attention to. When a woman has been intimate with someone else, one of the strongest giveaways is a sudden disruption in her routine, or because intimacy requires time, privacy, and opportunity, something has to change to make room for it, and that change often shows up in how she organizes her life. For example, or if she used to always come home after work around the same time, but suddenly starts arriving late, claiming she had to stay longer at the office or meet a friend, or it can create doubt in your mind. While staying late occasionally isn't unusual, repeated changes that don't align with her past patterns stand out. Likewise, or if she suddenly starts making excuses to go out without you more often, or has new commitments that she doesn't explain clearly, or these deviations in her schedule can reveal that something else is occupying her time, or the important thing isn't the excuse itself, but the fact that her life rhythm has shifted in a way that doesn't fit the past consistency you've known. Or another sign in her routine is how she manages her free time. If she once spent her weekends with you or prioritized certain activities together, but now claims she's too busy or too tired or has other plans, it suggests her priorities have changed. Intimacy with another person often comes with emotional involvement, and that emotional involvement requires her to create space in her life. That space has to come from somewhere, and it's usually carved out of the time she would otherwise spend with you. You might notice she begins to decline invitations, show less interest in shared activities, or come up with reasons why she can't stick to the usual rituals you once enjoyed as a couple. Changes in routine can also appear in the smaller details, or if she suddenly changes her grooming habits, showers at odd times, or takes extra care with her appearance before supposedly casual outings, it can raise questions. Or while it's natural for someone to want to look good, a sharp shift in effort or timing may signal that she is preparing for someone else. Similarly, or if she becomes inconsistent with her sleep patterns, staying up much later than usual or leaving early in the morning without clear reasons, those adjustments suggest she's fitting something new into her schedule. Or even the way she handles her phone or computer usage might shift, or with her being online at unusual hours or suddenly unavailable during times when she was always responsive before. Routine is powerful because it's unconscious, or people rarely think about how much their habits reveal, and when they try to hide something, or they often overlook how obvious these disruptions can be to someone who pays attention. You don't need to obsess over every little change, but when those changes pile up and the excuses don't align, it becomes difficult to ignore. This is why shifts in routine are such strong indicators. They show not just what she is saying, but what she is actually doing. Words can be carefully chosen to create a story, but actions, especially those tied to time and consistency, reveal where her priorities truly lie. When her daily life begins to look noticeably different without a clear reason, it becomes one of the strongest signs that something is happening behind the scenes. Physical signs are often some of the most uncomfortable to confront, yet they are also some of the most revealing because they leave traces that are difficult to completely erase. When a woman has been with someone else, there are often small but noticeable physical details that give away the reality, even when she tries to mask them. These indicators are subtle, but once you train yourself to notice, they become hard to ignore. One of the first and most common signs is changes in smell. Human intimacy leaves behind scents, whether it is perfume, cologne, or the natural scent of another person's body. If she comes home smelling freshly showered at unusual times, wearing a new fragrance, or carrying a scent that doesn't align with what she usually wears, it can be a clue that she has been with someone else. Or even the strongest attempts to cover it up with soap or perfume often don't completely erase the underlying change. Another noticeable indicator is her appearance. If she comes back looking different than she did when she left, especially if her hair, makeup, or clothes look altered in subtle ways, it can raise suspicion. For example, smudged makeup, hurriedly adjusted clothing, or freshly redone hair at odd hours can all be small details that suggest something happened in between. Or even the way her clothing smells or appears wrinkled, out of place, or changed unexpectedly, can tell a story she may not openly share. Or these physical discrepancies are not always easy to dismiss because they stand out when they don't align with the context she provides. Or body language is another layer of physical signs that can reveal the truth. When someone is carrying guilt or trying to hide something, or their body often betrays them even if their words sound convincing, she may avoid eye contact, appear restless, or become unusually fidgety when you're near her. Or, on the other hand, she might overcompensate by being overly relaxed or touchy, trying too hard to appear natural. Or these micro expressions and shifts in posture are difficult to control consistently, and they often reveal more than words ever could. Or you may notice that her usual openness in body language becomes guarded, or she avoids physical closeness in ways that feel uncharacteristic. Or changes in intimacy with you are also a physical sign worth observing. If she avoids physical affection, hesitates when you initiate closeness, or her responses feel half-hearted, it can be a sign that her attention and energy have recently been elsewhere. On the other hand, or she may suddenly engage in intimacy with unusual enthusiasm or with different patterns than before, reflecting new experiences or subconscious attempts to cover her tracks. Or these shifts in how she interacts with you physically are rarely random. They are influenced by her recent actions and the emotional weight attached to them. Or another element is personal hygiene patterns. If she suddenly feels the need to shower immediately after being out, changes her grooming routines unexpectedly, or takes extra precautions with her appearance without explaining why, it can point to more than just self-care. These sudden adjustments, or especially when they are out of character, suggest she is managing not just her appearance for you, but also covering evidence of being with someone else. Or timing plays a role here. If these behaviors occur right after unexplained absences or unusual outings, the connection becomes difficult to dismiss. Or even her tone of voice or level of physical energy can serve as physical clues. You might notice her speaking differently, either more tense or overly cheerful, or in a way that feels unnatural. She might carry herself with a different kind of energy, or either lighter because she has already given herself to someone else, or heavier because she is weighed down with guilt. These changes can be subtle, but over time they add up to a pattern that signals a difference in her physical and emotional state. Or the power of physical signs lies in their inability to stay completely hidden. People can control their words and craft stories, but their body, their scent, their appearance, and their habits often reveal the truth without them realizing it. Intimacy is more than a physical act. It is an exchange of emotions, energy, and presence. Or when you have been with someone long enough, you learn the subtle ways they show up in moments of closeness. You recognize their rhythm, their passion, the warmth in their touch, and the way they respond to your presence. That is why when a woman has been with someone else, one of the clearest indicators is her sudden detachment during intimacy with you. Or this detachment isn't always obvious at first glance, but when you pay attention, it becomes difficult to ignore. She may be physically present, but emotionally she feels miles away, and that lack of connection can be felt more strongly than words could ever describe. Or one of the first signs of this detachment is avoidance. She may begin to pull away from physical closeness altogether, coming up with excuses about being tired, stressed, or not in the mood. While it is natural for people to occasionally not feel like being intimate, consistent avoidance without a clear reason is a red flag. Or if she once sought you out, initiated closeness, or responded with enthusiasm, but now resists or delays it, that shift suggests her desires are being fulfilled elsewhere. Or intimacy takes on a different meaning for her because she is already giving that part of herself to another person, leaving little energy or desire left for you. Or another layer of detachment is when she agrees to be intimate, but the experience feels mechanical or half-hearted. You might notice her responses are minimal, her body is tense, or her enthusiasm seems forced. What was once natural chemistry can start to feel like obligation, as if she is going through the motions rather than truly connecting with you. Or, in those moments, you can sense that she is not fully present. Her mind might be elsewhere, her emotions detached, and that lack of engagement creates a distance that no physical closeness can bridge. There can also be subtle changes in the way she kisses you, touches you, or responds to your touch. Kissing, for example, often reflects the emotional state of the relationship. If her kisses lose their depth, feel rushed, or lack the same spark they once had, it is a sign that her emotions have shifted. Touch that once lingered with affection may now feel short and disconnected. Or these differences are not always dramatic, but when you compare them to her past behavior, they reveal a change in how she experiences closeness with you. In some cases, or the opposite happens. Instead of withdrawing, she may suddenly become more experimental or introduce new behaviors in intimacy that were not part of your relationship before. Or while exploration can be healthy in many relationships, a sudden shift in patterns without prior buildup can indicate outside influence. Or it might feel like she is bringing in experiences or ideas that didn't originate between the two of you, and while she may try to pass it off as curiosity, or the timing and the context can reveal more than she intends. Her body language during and after intimacy is another telling aspect. If she avoids eye contact, quickly turns away, or seems emotionally distant afterward, it reflects a lack of deeper connection. Intimacy usually strengthens emotional bonds, but when it feels like it creates more distance instead, it is because her emotions are no longer fully invested in you. Even the silences afterward change, or where there was once comfort, there may now be awkwardness or a subtle wall that keeps you at a distance. The essence of this sign lies in presence, or intimacy is most powerful when both people are fully there emotionally and physically, when her presence fades, when her warmth feels replaced by detachment, and when her body is there but her heart isn't. It is a strong indicator that she has shared herself elsewhere. This detachment is not something she can fully disguise, because intimacy requires authenticity, and when that authenticity is compromised, it becomes impossible to ignore. Defensiveness is one of the strongest indicators that someone is hiding something, because it reveals an internal conflict between what they know to be true and what they want you to believe. When you ask a simple question, an honest answer should flow easily. Or if nothing is wrong, there is nothing to hide. But when a woman has recently been with someone else, the weight of that secret often pushes her to react in ways that don't match the situation. Instead of answering calmly, she might snap, change the subject, or accuse you of being paranoid, or twist the conversation back onto you. This reaction is not about the question itself, but about the guilt and fear underneath it. One of the clearest signs of defensiveness is overreaction. If you casually ask where she was or what she was doing, and she responds with excessive irritation or anger, that is often an attempt to cover up what she doesn't want exposed. Her response becomes bigger than the situation demands, because inside she feels cornered, the defensiveness acts as a shield designed to push you away from looking any deeper. In some cases, she may even accuse you of being controlling or mistrustful, or turning your natural curiosity into the problem rather than addressing the question honestly. Another form of defensiveness shows up as avoidance. Instead of answering directly, she may give vague responses, change the subject, or create unnecessary detail that complicates the story. People who are hiding something often add too much information, because they think over-explaining makes their story more believable. But in reality, those unnecessary details are a way of buying time and deflecting attention. Or you may notice that her stories don't quite add up, or that the details shift each time she tells them. This inconsistency is a sign that her words are being constructed rather than naturally recalled. Defensiveness can also appear in her body language, when someone feels threatened by a question, their body often reacts before their mind has time to control it. She may cross her arms, avoid eye contact, fidget, or physically move away from you. Even the tone of her voice may change, becoming sharper, louder, or unusually fast. These physical reactions are signals of discomfort, and they reveal the stress she feels about maintaining the secret. While words can be carefully chosen, body language is harder to control, and it often betrays the truth. Or sometimes defensiveness comes in the form of reversal, where she shifts the blame onto you. Instead of addressing your question, she may accuse you of being untrusting, insecure, or even unfaithful yourself. This tactic is designed to put you on the defensive so that the focus shifts away from her behavior. It creates confusion and guilt in you, or making you question yourself rather than pressing further. While this reversal might temporarily distract you, it is one of the clearest signs that she has something to hide, or because an innocent person doesn't need to manipulate the situation to avoid giving a direct answer. Another layer of defensiveness is secrecy, or she may suddenly insist on privacy in areas where she never cared before, like guarding her phone, being protective of her social media, or avoiding discussions about her whereabouts. When you ask about these changes, her defensive response reinforces the suspicion. Or innocent people usually welcome clarity because they have nothing to lose by being open, but someone hiding something often reacts as though your curiosity is an attack. Or that tension between openness and secrecy is what makes defensiveness such a powerful sign at its core. Or defensiveness is not just about the words spoken, but about the energy behind them. You can feel when an answer is genuine and when it is layered with fear or guilt. Or a woman who has nothing to hide may still get annoyed at repetitive questioning, but her responses remain grounded and consistent. A woman who has been with someone else, or however carries a different energy, her reactions become sharper, her words less natural, and her presence heavier with tension. Or that difference is what makes defensiveness such a telling sign, because it reveals the struggle between truth and deception,